I
Oh,
was I was in the wrong meeting.
no, you were in the right meeting earlier because I got a notification that you joined maybe like a 5 minutes before.
Yeah.
Then I guess you dropped off and then came back again. Right? Yeah.
Oh, I thought so. Yeah, I was trying to figure out where everyone was.
Okay.
But I found you.
That's
I
good.
was like, this is strange that we're late.
Okay. All right, we're just getting started actually. Uh,
Okay.
so
I have some questions before we go. I'm a
yeah,
little behind on things.
go ahead. Yeah.
Well, you want me to ask now?
Sure, sure.
Okay, so I'm working on the user persona assignment.
Okay.
And I don't quite understand the second part of it.
There maybe that there was a one assignment. Hold on. Let me take a look. There was a one assignment that I think I got assigned accidentally. Let me make sure that that's not the case. Otherwise, you don't have to do it.
Oh my goodness, I found out I did that in my other class today, and it's just been
Uh,
like destroying my brain.
can you tell me what is the
It's called creating a startup, building a funnel.
the HubSpot one?
Um,
But
I
one of
It
the
doesn't say HubSpot. It says
this is the one that you don't need to do it. Yeah.
I don't need to do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, because we didn't cover that area.
that's good news.
Yeah. So
Whew.
don't.
Glad
So
I only got halfway through number one.
when I started, uh, I actually copied the course from uh, from previous class, and somehow it had this system where it automatically gave homework, and so for
Mhm.
weeks I did not know that it was giving homework without my approval.
Oh, I see.
Those were the
So maybe you can clarify what
uh,
assignments we have left.
yeah. So I think most of the my home when I give homework, usually it has um, mm, let's say um, I think the things that we covered in the class. Uh, I think that was the only one. I know a few people also asked me before.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go over it quickly. Hold on.
Okay.
Assignments.
Because I think then I have like two assignments showing up on mine that I'll end up having to do.
I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. So um these one that says uh lecture. So this
Mm-hmm.
is lecture three. Um, let me see. SSM media marketing. I think I don't know, it's already published. Oh wow, okay. These three I did not. Wow. There's more than enough that were published. These are mine, module assignments. Yeah, these are the ones.
Okay, so only the module ones we
Yeah.
have to do then.
And then
So
these,
the SMM one I don't have to do either?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And then shopping.
that's oh my goodness. I found out I wrote like a really big 40% of my grade essay
Mm.
that was due today on the wrong topic. So I'm really glad to find out that I'm not like three assignments behind in here.
And then I stopped it. So these were not published. You can see that. So that was good. Yeah.
Okay, so then are the I'm sorry, I keep like clicking on the wrong thing to see my thing. So is module 8 then the last assignment for the course or Is there more after module 8?
So I think we have only maybe, I would say, yeah, I think we have one module left. I think, and then we'll focus on the um okay, so like here it is. Upcoming assignment, past assignment. Okay, November. Okay, that is interesting. So you guys see this view, right? Ah, it's a
What was
mess.
that?
You guys see this view, right? Yeah.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. So let's go over it. I'm just gonna start from this module 3. Let's see. Yeah, so this one, module 3 was fine. This is the one I gave. Lecture 3 homework. No, this is not. Usually, the one that you would see where Justin's name would be in, those
Hmm.
are those are the one that were not given by me. This was carry over. Though some of the content I usually copy over, but if you see this, then it's not something that I gave. Okay, so that's a
Okay.
signature pretty much. I'm hoping that the same signature would be, let's say, let's look at Shopify, for example. Yeah, you can see. If you see Justin's name, that means ignore it. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Whew.
Cool.
Great.
All right. I'll make it. I'll actually I'll send out an email stating which one not to do. Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Um. So let's go back to the module. Yeah, this is the first time I'm teaching this, so there because I usually teach JavaScript class, right? So that's
Hmm.
why there is a little bit of confusion because of that. Um, but hopefully, oh, this is the students view. Oh, the students view. Okay, good. And then go to module. And yeah, we are closer to the end, actually. We have okay. So today we're gonna focus on what is it called a business relationship. Okay. So let's assume that you have already um, started the business. Um, then you need to have customer relationship, and then you have to have other business relationship, right? I mean, I call this relationship, depends on a project, depend on what product you're selling, right? Sometimes if you have a B2B business where you are selling business to business, you might have few customers which you are selling to, right? And uh, then you have, business like Amazon where you're selling to the whole world, right? But at the same time, you might have some business to business relationship. For example, let's say you have you are selling printed t-shirts. So you are printing the t-shirts, but there's a raw material, which is t-shirts you're getting supplied from somewhere else, right? Um, in that case, what happens is that business, you are a customer to that business, right? Or it could be the other way around. You are a wholesaler where you actually sell t-shirt to somebody, some guy who is printing the t-shirt, right? But anyway, that is a business relationship, right? And it's a both ways. So what you want to do is you want to build that relationship, right? You don't only focus on selling something, you also focus on building, having a relation. It's just like friendship in a way, right? You need to talk to them. You need to make sure that they're happy. Uh, uh, what happens? One of the lesson I learned from life is, um, you cannot have more than 4 or 5 friends, 5 good friends, right? After that, it's very hard to maintain those relationships, right? Because what happens is you might have friends from school who you're really tight with, but then later on they kind of moved away, and then you lost that person, right? And then one day you'll be thinking, you know what, that person, we were really close, but I don't know what happened, right? That's because you did not maintain the relationship, even when they moved away from the area or things like that, right? Um, which is fine because you can only maintain a 5 or 6 relationship. So business is similar to that, right? You need to do certain things to make sure that let me provide the link in the chat. You need to make sure that you maintain that relationship, right? Um, one of the things, between the friends, right? You need to be authentic. Um, Basically, you need to be truthful, though, in business, oftentimes you know, people hide stuff, which is fine. You need to protect yourself in a way, but you need to be genuine. You need to have a natural, easier communication. You can pick up the phone and call the guy, and then say, hey, you know what, we are having some issues here. We may not be able to deliver, and be honest, upfront about things, right? Um, so that is the authenticity you want to bring to this business relationship. Again, it's the same thing as, friendship. Um, uh, in a way, we as a human, we always connect with people. We trust some people more than the other, right? So we want to create that level of trust. We want to deliver uh, the goods, but at the same time, we want to have that trust level, right? If you think of like Amazon, right? One of the reason we love shopping, at least most people love shopping at Amazon, is because they build this relationship with their customer. Even though there are millions of customers, right? They communicate that they can have a really good return policy, and then they follow with that commitment, right? So within, I guess, 30 days or so, you can return pretty much anything, right? Um, uh, so that's why, and you make it easier for shopping and all that stuff, but you know that when you go to Amazon, you can trust them. Okay. Even though people just hate a lot of things that they do for various reason, but they still keep shopping there, right? And that is a reason. Second thing is identify shared goals and values, right? Um, Shared goal and values are pretty much, uh, you know, we want to treat each other with respect. We need to know uh, that there is this level of trust that is between us. In old days, a lot of business was done face to face, right? Nowadays, a lot of things happens via email or phone number, so there's not that real connection, right? Uh, People can be really rude to each other on the email, and there's a lot of things get lost, right? But a good old uh, you know, um, phone call could build that relationship, right? Um, and also you need to develop that mutual respect, right? Because ultimately you need to get something to give something, right? You need to give something to get something, right? So you need to build that mutual relationship. Again, I think all of these is all about, uh, good personal skills, right? Social skills, um, and things like that. A lot of times, I remember when I was working at this company, um, there was this recruiter. I specifically remember. Uh, what she was doing is she was providing us candidates, right? Resumes basically, and then we would interview those people, and then we would pick um, the best from it, and then they will get a cut. So let's say if we hire somebody from the resume that they provided, um, we pay them like 10, $15,000, right? For each candidate we hire. So it is a lot of money. Um, so my boss said, why don't you work with this lady, and then she will pass you the resume and all that stuff, right? So I said, okay. So I worked with her, and then so I emailed her, and the first thing she did is she said, can I call you? Okay. So I got a call from her, and then she said, "Hey, no, you know what? We are here to help you and all that stuff. Um, let me, um, if you have any issue with my service, you can be upfront." So she built that confidence, right? And me said, "Okay, they are here to help." Um, then she sent me some resume. I did not like some of the resume, so I said, this is can I get something better? Um, or you know, change the requirement and all that, and she was happy to do that. And then eventually we were able to hire someone from that company. And then she got paid for that, right? Um, then for 2, 3 months, we were not looking for a new people because we hired everyone that we needed, right? So we filled all the positions. Um, However, she would call me every month, okay? And then she would say, "Hey, how's going? Whatnot," right? There was one time, there was a Christmas time, and then she said, "Oh, I'm downstairs. Can you come down here?" I was like, "Okay, what are you doing here? Like, we don't have any business right now." So I went down, and she said, "I bought you a box of chocolate and a gift." Okay. Um, and I was like, why, why, why? And I was kind of new to this, right? So I said, okay, but I'm not supposed to receive any gifts. So I said, no, 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 this is nothing about, you help me out, I help you out. So, it's really cheap and everything. I said, okay. So I took I took the box. And I told my boss that, my boss said, well, that's okay if they give you like like a chocolate or something, but don't take any money from them. That's not good, right? Um, and then a couple of months later, she called me up and she says, "Hey, I wanna talk to you about, is there any way we can help each other out and this and that?" So I said, okay, I don't have a lot of time, but you can come down here and we can talk. So uh, she came down and she said, "Oh, how about we meet for lunch, right? It's lunchtime, so I'll take you for lunch." I said, "Okay." And then, she took me for lunch. She paid for it, right? Obviously. Um, and it was, and then we talked, and she was pretty much asking me, like, what's your next step? Are you gonna hire a few more people? If you are, I have some resumes and this and that, right? And I said, no, I don't think we're hiring right now, but I definitely consider you if we hire, right? So if you can see that she kind of built that connection so that we don't go with some other recruiter, right? In terms of effort, um, uh, she had to just maybe buy a box of chocolate or take me out for lunch. But that small thing would keep her in my mind, right? Which is the key. Uh, so having this kind of relationship is important. And what that created is that, okay, you know what? I'm very comfortable with her. She, you know, uh, she and I are on same level. We worked before, and whenever I need something, she delivers. So next time, if I need somebody, I'm gonna go to her because we were dealing with some other vendors as well, right? So we had a really good relationship, and then for my whole tenure, I pretty much hired all the folks from her company, even though we had other company, right? Um, so that was that. So based on that, right? Uh, some of the stuff that you have to share some of the vulnerability, right? So you talk about what are the difficulties in your job in terms of like hiring, and then she would do the same thing. Well, I right now the market is really tough. I'm not getting a lot of resume because not a good resume because not many people are looking, but we are doing our best. So this way we create that understanding of what's going on, right? I got your back. Remember, I told you about how she said, um, anytime that you have problem or a need for a new person, we are happy to jump in and help out. We have a good list of people, and if you're not satisfied, we'll get you the right person that you need from somewhere else, right? So that is something that that was communicated to me, and then she delivered on that one. So that is a kind of a key in that sense. Any question on any of that? Whenever I see this, I always think of like a friendship, but friendship has different level. Um, but this is a business friendship in a way, right? Um, so
I worked in a doctor's office for a little bit, and everything you said was just making me think of like pharmaceutical reps and
yeah,
like them bringing us lunch every day.
yeah, yeah. Uh, one day I asked her, we hired, so I was hired there through another company. And uh, one day I asked those folks because I needed to hire some person. And so I said, how much you guys charge? And usually that information is not with me because of my manager would handle that. And then she says, oh, about uh, 20% of your, you know, salary or maximum $50,000 or something like that. And I was like, $50,000 for delivering a resume. That's a nice gig. All you need is like maybe get 5 or 6 people hired and you're set for the year. Not a bad business. And then that's how I remember, okay, yeah, she's bringing a box of chocolate is not a big deal. Uh, get more personal, right? So she would ask me, "Oh, how's your family? What's going on?" She would talk about her kids and what's happening in their life. Um, and I think when you share something, you are something personal, you are kind of creating this deeper relationship with another person, right? Obviously, you don't want to share a lot of things, but but share something that they can relate to, right? Um, over a coffee, right? That's always good. Um, plan something, as I said, she took me out for lunch. So plan something fun to do together, right? In this case, that's all she can do, right? Because uh, she cannot just say, "Hey, let have a golf free tickets to uh, Giants or something," right? I think that would be a bribe.
I was
But
actually I was actually gonna ask if there are like I mean etiquette or parameters. So
so if it's your business, there are no parameters. This is how it works, right? So let's say you started a business. Let's look at them from both sides, right? If you started a business and you are getting services from somebody, right? Let's say you are a doctor's office and these reps are coming in and you own that doctor's office because you are the owner of, you started that clinic. Uh, you can, you know, you can get any bribes. I wouldn't say call it bribe in that case. I would just call it business relationship in that sense, right?
perk.
Which is true, right? However, if you're an employee working from somebody, so difference between organization getting the benefit versus you getting a benefit as an employee, that's a different story, right? The bribe comes in when, as an individual, like which was my situation, where I was getting these benefits, right? Whether it's a chocolate or a lunch. Um, what is the rule around that? So I know in a federal, there is a limit, I think $50 or something. So anyone can give you a worth of $50 worth of goods or something, right? And you can check maybe these guidelines usually change, but it's usually a small amount. But you cannot give cash to anyone. You can give chocolate or lunch worth of $50. That is completely fine. Does that make sense?
How would you like Google that?
Um, Actually, let's Google it. Rules for, I don't know, federal employees accepting gifts. Oh, $20, not 50. Oh, right here. So gift value at $20 or less. Okay, so chocolate box would be fine as long as its retail value is under $20.
As long as
But
it's real good chocolate.
the question is never ask how much it is. Then you have to,
How much is this good chocolate?
if you just ignore that fact, then you say if you have to go to court, you would just say, I'm not a chocolate guy. I don't know how much chocolate costs. She gave me a chocolate. It's rude to ask how much it costs, right? Uh, and then you cannot accept up to 50% aggregated from a single source in a given calendar year. So and again, this is a federal, it doesn't apply to any private. So that means uh, if somebody gives you $20 candy or chocolate, right? Um, they can do twice maximum or three times, and that would go over 50. Otherwise, a lot of people would do, I can give you, you know, every day one box, right? And that would be, under $20, but I can give you so many of them. But that doesn't,
That seems tricky with like write-offs and stuff then, because aren't meetings like that business expenses?
yes, from the other side. So
Hmm.
whoever is giving it, it's a business expense.
Oh, that's right, because we're talking about the receiver right
Yeah,
now.
ex-
Gotcha, gotcha.
right, right, right. Um, I have a friend who, um, you know, who is a marketing guy or sales guy. Um, Usually, companies give them, sales credit card, which means they can just pretty much spend, 50, $60 here and there without any questions, right? Um, so what he would do is he would call me up and he would say, "Hey, I'm in the area." And this guy, I know him from college. And so he would call me up, "Hey, do you want to meet up for a drink or lunch or dinner today? I'm in the area." And he lived in LA, so he would maybe show up like three, 4 times a year in San Francisco when he's doing business. And so I would go, lunch with him or dinner with him, and then every time he pays the bill. And usually bill is, maybe, I don't know, two of us, between two of us, it's like 50, $60 with drinks and dinner or something. So I would say, okay, and I would always ask, let's pay. And he said, no, no, no. All I have to do is with you is ask about your company. Okay. Um, as soon as I ask about a company, I created this business relationship, which means, if I pay for your dinner, that means I'm doing a business with you. So I can just write off. And we're just friends. So I know that I was not gonna do any business with him. But that's a trick that he always used as I say, "Yeah, do you do the same thing with your cousins?" I say, yes.
So am I right to assume then that's per person? So if
Yeah.
you take out the CEO and the other guy, it's 50 each or
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as I said, this is a federal guideline.
uh-huh.
Big company probably have a higher because this is too low, right? Government, you cannot do that. And absolutely no cash. You cannot get any cash. So what they do is, again, this is probably at much higher level, right? What is called favor. So let's say let's take a look at a good example. Let's say Jennifer is a vendor, right? And I'm the customer. And let's say Jess, you are my friend, right? So what I would do is say I would tell Jennifer, hey, my my friend Jess, she needs you know golf membership, which costs maybe $50,000, okay, in Manhattan. Um, can you get that? And so you would say, yeah, sure, why not? Uh, so Jennifer gives golf membership to Jess, not to me. I'm the customer, right? And then I'll do a favor to Jennifer or sign whatever. So there is no actually transaction between me and Jennifer, right? So then everything is legal. Now, Jess got $50,000 worth of golf membership, right? So I'll talk to Jess and say, hey, you know what? Uh, I need help here with this thing. I need to pay this much, or I need to pay for this membership. So Jess would pay for my membership, which is 50,000 or maybe less. I don't know. So then it's a triangle. So it's really hard to track who gave who money, right? So that's how usually it works at a much higher level. And it's all legal, right?
Hmm. Funny how that works.
Yeah, it's all legal. Because as long as you don't say that you were doing for this purpose, it's all legal. Because if you look at who's the vendor and who's the receiver, right? Who's a business partner. So as long as uh, I said Jennifer did not give me any cash or any gifts, um, this is a legal transaction, right? I provided the service, and or I approved um, her company deal, even though there were multiple other vendors, right? Because I got the service indirectly. Yeah. Um, if you look at the corruption at higher level in America, this is how it works. But unfortunately, it's all legal. Because when I give something to my friend, it's all legal. I can happy to lend somebody money, no problem, right? But how this transaction happened, it's in a way it's illegal. So, but this is how the business relationship are built, um, at that high level. That's why a lot of politicians are so rich. You would think, okay, um, you know how much money a president makes?
I did once upon a time.
$400,000.
It is. Oh, I would have guessed that.
It's
I
that's
feel
the
like it
highest.
hasn't changed then. It's
Yeah,
been
maybe a little bit. I don't know. Let's say how much. Let's look at it.
because I took civics in like 2000 and that's the number I remember.
Yeah, 400,000. Yeah, you see,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, January 2001. That makes sense.
It may have changed a little bit.
Huh.
But so this is the highest salary any federal employee can make. Okay, and the president is the top of the food chain, right? So if the president makes 400,000, if I was working in a government, I cannot make more than 400,000. Okay. But if you look at when they leave the office, they are millionaires. So how does that happen?
It's because it's 4,000 a year or 400,000 a year.
400,000 a year doesn't make you really rich, actually. Um, after the tax, you get 200,000 or so, right? Um, so it's not a lot. I mean, it is a lot of money, but if you look at, so let's say how much is, for example, Trump is a different scenario. um, uh, because he's a businessman. But if you look at, let's say, Obama, right? Obama is probably worth millions of dollars. So making $400,000 salary, you cannot have $50 million or $60 million, right? Let's look at how much Obama is worth. Much.
Wait, so that's true. No one can make more than the president in the United States?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me so angry.
Mhm. Barack Obama's net worth is $70 million at this year. Imagine how many 400,000 requires. It requires 50 years of salary without any spending, actually 100 years of salary, right? How can a president make that much money? Can you guess? How did he make $70 million legally?
No. Gifts?
No. So this is how it works. Uh, so let's say um, um, there are a lot of laws that needs to be passed, right? A lot of things needs to be done so that people would come here. What they call lobbyists, and then lobbyists would meet with president, and usually they don't directly meet, but meet with their people, and then they would say, uh, "Hey, can we get this? Can we get this done?" Right? Um, and then so president say, "Okay, there's a cost." Okay. Um, Again, telling the cost is not legal, but it happens, right? Okay, it's going to cost you $2 million or something, right? So what that person would say, okay, how about you come over for a lecture to our university, okay, this university. So the president goes for a lecture, and each lecture, president gets paid $500,000. Okay, so the college would pay $500,000 to that president. Um, it's all legal, but for what? For a lecture? No, I don't think so. For so the money is routed through other games, and that's how you know uh, president make. I think the biggest money maker would be, I think, Trump. That guy probably milked the system up to wazoo. Um,
So, this is maybe a dumb question then. Um, are sorry, I didn't mean to mute myself. Are those extra are they considered jobs? Like, are they 1099s or they are just
yeah,
like built in
1099.
the system?
That's 1099. And that usually happens after he retires. Well, usually can happen while he's working, but also after he retires, he can do the same thing. So a lot
Mm,
of promises that were made while he was president, they're fulfilled after also.
mm, okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, how can a federal employee's net worth, who never done any business, 70 million dollars? It's mind-boggling, right? So it's the power that gives you the money. So I just wanted to give you honesty in this topic, right? Uh, it's offer something before asking for something, which is a great thing, right? Uh, a lot of times, what happens is that a lot of vendors are trying to get in. Let's say you are printing t-shirts, and your business got really big, so you need a lot of raw material, right? So you need a lot of t-shirts that you're getting from some vendor. Now the vendor is charging, let's say, $3 a t-shirt. Okay. Now somebody else realizes that, oh, they are doing business with you. So they would call you up and say, hey, you know what? I can give you $2 a t-shirt if you but they need to build this relationship, right? This is where all of these comes in. So uh you as a as an owner, you have to kind of figure out which one you want to trust more. Somebody who's been delivering for a few years and you had no issue with that person, right? Um, and then some new person says, "Oh, I can do something cheaper with, you know." Uh, so this is where that's where this relationship comes in, right? So what you can do is you can just go to that person and says, "Hey, you know what? That other person offered me $2 a t-shirt. What can you do?" Right? Because I ultimately we are all here to make money, right? Um, so then that person can say, I can give you that same service for $2, right? Or maybe 2.5. But since we have a business relationship, I can reduce that cost, right? Um, for you. So that's how all of these works, right? If there's a strong relationship with you, you might say, okay, you know what? Instead of three, I'll take 2.5, still higher than the other guy, but I have a really strong relationship with you. So I'm willing to work with you rather than the other guy. Okay. So um that's how it works. Make sense? So if you start a business, I think, there are a lot of things that beyond selling and buying you would have to do. And this is one of the key stuff, right? Marketing, sales are the key position you have to fill. A lot of things you're going to do yourselves initially. So you need to wear a lot of different hats, right? Because you cannot simply hire people who would um, simply um, because you don't have enough money to do that. Because a lot of sales guy, they take commission and it will cost you a lot of money.
I have a question about that.
Sure.
So I was working on the user persona thing
Mhm.
earlier, and like when I was reading over the materials, there were just parts where it was talking about like the financial plans and all of that, and it's like my brain just glosses over when I'm reading like formulas and percentages and stuff, and
Mhm.
it's like there's no way I understand any, like I can't even read the words when that happens. So the thing I was thinking of as I was doing it is realistically I would need just somebody else to handle all of that. But how would you go about finding that type of person? Because my guess is it's not just an accountant. It's like you need somebody who does that job, and I don't know how to find a person that does that job.
So I think initially it will be a little bit simpler, right? So let's say you're starting a new business. Um, you have to figure out what do you need. And this is where a lot of business don't get off the ground, right? Um, because the formula doesn't make sense. Okay. Um, think of Tesla, for example. When Tesla started, actually, a lot of people say that Elon Musk started Tesla. It's actually not true. There were two brothers. I think they were in Palo Alto somewhere. Uh, they started Tesla, and what their dream was to build an electric car, right? Um, a lot of people had tried and failed. You know what is the biggest issue with um, electric car? What is the biggest drawback of electric car compared to gas cars?
Is it like weather? Maybe?
Uh,
Does
no,
I don't know, does I guess solar doesn't really have anything to do with it, huh? It's
no,
electric.
electric car, right? So let's say Tesla, for example. Let's say Tesla and then Toyota. I don't know, Camry, for example, right? Um, we have
Right.
an infrastructure for gas, right? If you run out of gas, you can just stop at any gas station, and there are plenty of them, right? With Tesla, in the beginning, the range, so that it runs on a battery, right? And a battery discharges, and it has a finite life, which means, let's say, you have a 50-mile range, what they call it, right? So initially it was quite low. The battery they had, you can only go from point A to point B, um, without recharging is 25 miles. Okay. That means you left your house in San Jose. I cannot go to San Francisco because and come back, because if I did that, what happens? I can go maybe up to Palo Alto from San Jose, which is maybe 25 miles. That's it. But I cannot come back because there's no charger. So I can only go maybe 12 miles, right? Which is not enough. If I were if you say that, okay, you have a car where you can take this car only 12 miles, uh, I would not buy the car. And that was the biggest problem because there were no charging stations, first of all. The battery's range was only maybe 50 miles or 25 miles. Um, so even if you have that car, you cannot take it too far, right? And also recharging was taking too long. So let's say you want to fully charge that car, it would take you, I guess, maybe 6, 7 hours to charge, which is not very practical, right? You go 12 miles and then somehow you find a charger and it takes 12 hours to charge, and then you come back 12. Who's going to buy that car, right? Um, so when Elon Musk took over, one of the first things they said, oh, we're going to increase the range to, you know, and that's why nobody was making electric cars back in the days, because it was not practical. Infrastructure was not there, but which means charging stations were not there, and also the range wasn't there. So what he thought, okay, what if he can increase the range to maybe 100 miles? Okay, now you can go 50 miles and come back, which is fine. At least you have a commuter car, right? If you fully charge throughout the night and then take the car and come back 50 miles and back, great. But for reaching that 50 miles, he had to do a lot of modification to the car, right? Um, and in meanwhile, he needs to also make sure, because doing that takes a lot of money, and effort, and a lot of research. So you need to make the batteries smaller and then faster and all that stuff, right? So he was running out a lot of money. Um, and uh, he had to do a lot of things by himself. So he would get involved in this negotiation with, whether it's a battery company or, whether he needs some approval from government and this and that, right? So because he was so capable of doing that, he was able to achieve that. Um, the so when you start a business, you need to figure out this model because everyone else is doing pretty much the same thing, right? How can you do better, faster, and cheaper, right? You have to figure that out. Uh, that requires not only um, the skill of, I think if you're a better negotiator, that's why a lot of businessmen are better negotiator, because they can make these big deals. A lot of people think, running a business is all about, smartness in what you're building. It's more about how to maintain this relationship, whether it's a marketing or sales, right? Initially, you have to do everything yourself by yourself. And you can do it initially because you might have to deal with one person or two people, right? Um, Once your business starts, let's say if you're starting a t-shirt company, you you would do it. You just need maybe 100 t-shirts to start with, right? that you can just go and talk to anybody and get the 100 t-shirt and then, deliver it, right? Uh, Once you are doing on a scale of thousands of t-shirt a day, uh, then you hire somebody. Say, hey, you know what? I need the best deal. But by then you're making a lot of money as well. So you have a lot of money in the bank to pay these guys, right? And I think hiring these people, it's you rely on these kind of company. Remember, I told you about this company who would go and find, and you can do it. You can judge people by looking at the resume, where they worked, what kind of work they've done, and all that stuff, right? So you have to rely on that as well. Eventually, you'll figure things out. So as your business go, your focus should be less and less on doing all this mundane stuff, and more focus on the key things that requires your attention, right? At high level. But initially, you do everything yourself. Then, as your business grow, you hire, and you would learn if you, once you get into that situation, you will learn how to do that. If you're not comfortable with number, you can ask maybe your friends to get involved, right? That's a good legitimate thing to do. Or just say, hey, you know what? I need some help with it. I'm going to pay you this much. Can you help me out? So that's why this is a very key, and they become it's a business relationship, right? You already trust your friends, your family member, somebody in your family is good with numbers, somebody in your family is good with negotiation, you know. So you use them to get what you need to get done initially, um, and grow your business. Does that answer your question?
I mean a little bit. I mean, realistically, I don't have any friends or family that know any of this stuff, so that's why I like I wouldn't even know how to ask for the person I need.
So are you saying specifically in terms of uh calculations on the business calculations?
Sorry, I keep accidentally muting myself. Hold on. Let me look at the words that I'm looking for that I came across today, because I was like, it was the sales pipeline thing I was reading about.
Hmm.
And there were just a lot of like there was like a whole section like key pipeline analysis and like metrics and formulas and stuff, and it's like I don't know what any of these words mean, and I don't know how to find like the person who specializes in that stuff, like is there a title of a person who knows how to do that stuff, or is it an accumulation of skills from different areas?
No, that's a sales guy. That's your sales guy.
It's a sales guy that
Yeah.
handles that stuff.
Salesman. You can call him a sales.
Okay.
So
Okay, that answers my
actually,
question.
yeah, there's actually training that they go through. It's actually um, so they usually have a business degree.
Okay.
Okay. So if you go for a business degree, there are a couple of positions you can do, right? Your focus can be on sales, where you learn all the pipeline and all that stuff, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
then the second one would be marketing, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so multimedia marketing is also one aspect of it. Uh,
Okay.
so basically, advertising and getting the word out. Then there's a finance that is also part of the business, right? Uh,
Uh-huh.
then also accounting, right? Finance is basically getting the money. Accounting is making sure the all the numbers match, and then when you do the reporting and all that stuff, right? Um, and then lastly, they're business analyst. Uh, their job is essentially um, understand the requirement, right? So let's say you started selling some t-shirts. Again, I'm coming to that because an easier example. Um, then somebody, and then you wanna, let's say you're hitting the, boundary. you're making enough money, but you're not breaking through, right? You need a new product. Uh, Now you have money, but the business you're doing, there's a limit that you have reached. So you can say, okay, I want a new product. How do I do that? So you hire up what is called product engineer, product manager. And what he does some research, like who else is selling this, how they are doing it. So they do like a research across the domain and figure out the next best product you can build.
So I feel like maybe for my idea, like hypothetically, I would need that project manager from the beginning.
Product manager. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You would need it from the beginning, but I think unfortunately, that is one role uh that you have to uh be good at to start from,
I
right?
see.
Because your first product as a business, your first product you were coming up with, like you came up with this idea of reservation system. In a way, you are the product manager, right?
Uh-huh.
Because you did the research, you came up with it. There are other aspect of that as well. Like for example, you can do there's a user research where what you do is you ask people, and I think you guys did the same thing, right? For user research,
Yeah.
you ask your friends and family, what do you think, and this and that, right? But there are other means to do it, like a surveys and things like that. They collect the data from it, right? And then and that's why I ask you to do that exercise, because that is one of the key thing. Whatever you're building, you need to know if it's viable or not, right? Because you don't want to go the wrong direction to start with. So that's how it works. So that's a one key thing that skill you need to have. Everything else you can delegate.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. And again, it's a learning curve, right? So once you start a business, you will learn quickly about everything. And it's usually this how it works, right? If you really, it becomes like a game, right? And everything is a puzzle. Um, and usually when you're making money, um, it's like if you're doing your homework, right? Yes, homework gets you to a good grades and whatnot, and that's your objective. But when you have potential to make a lot of money, your 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 you have more desire to actually learn more. Actually, you'll do your research, you find out best way to do certain things, right? Because it's actually impacting your revenue. So a lot of business people, once they started making money, they go in a different mode. They'll figure things out, right? Um, but the key property of a good businessman is they can find people who can do these things, so they don't have to do it themselves. So yeah, cool. Um, yeah, so there'll be some homework on this one. It will like a simple homework, write a paragraph on, you know, uh, what are the aspect in your business that requires what kind of key relationship building, right? Um, for example, in your business, Jess, you have to think about you have these venues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these venues, you have to go and talk to them. They can so let's say initially you start with 5 venues, okay? So you have to go to those 5 venues and say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna have people booking this venue, so you need to respect that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you need to go and build that relationship with them. Um, you need to earn their trust. Once they start making money, and you also go and talk to them and say, hey, you know what? How's everything going? Is the booking system working properly? Let me know if there are any issues, right? We can solve it and things like that. So you need to earn their trust, because otherwise, they'll just say, I don't know, you double booked or somebody double booked, and now they're yelling at me and I don't like it or whatnot, right? It could happen, right? So even if that happens, you're gonna go in there and say, you know what, calm down. Here's some chocolate, you know.
I don't want to keep everybody too long, but I had some questions about when I was doing like the slide presentation, when I was trying to think about like budgeting and stuff, and like I was wondering if like how like pricing goes for things, like since mine's a subscription service, like
Yeah.
I had put on my timeline maybe like doing like 3 months of just like, or a month of just like one town, one local town as like the test.
Mhm.
And I guess my considerations were like how to bring in people if it's like free for like the venues that sign up now until like a certain date or something, like how stuff like that works. Like are there
That's a
ways
good
to
question.
entice users, or do you have to jump in to pay me right away?
So this is how I do it. Okay. Uh, so what I would do, I would go to my local area, first of all, right? Find a popular venue and talk to the guy. Say, hey, you know what? I'm building this site. Okay. Um, and again, this is where this relationship building would come in handy. You would say, I'm building this website, and what I need is your help. Okay. Uh, where I will bring you customers, right? And we'll have this nice relationship. Um, uh, so you kind of convey that and agree on the price, right? Ultimately, the price is being paid by the customer anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he said, what would be the reasonable price that people usually pay? Since if I'm bringing, let's say, 20 customers, compared to what you have to advertise and all that stuff, I'm bringing it to you. Can we get a discounted price? Which means if I fill your calendar with all this stuff, you give us discounted price. Okay, so you agree on the price. Again, you're not paying for that price. The customer would pay for that price, right? Maybe you take a cut from in between or whatnot. Then what you do is contact, find out maybe all the artists in the neighborhood. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can ask the guy who has that venue, say, hey, who are your artists? Right? If you can give me the name of them, I will contact them directly and then make deal with them. And then so you go to those artists and then say, hey, you go directly to them. Now you have a easier way to do it from this calendar that I'm building. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Then you're gonna get charged much less than how you go directly, right? So
Uh-huh.
they would have something to benefit, right? So it's a win-win situation for both. The company doesn't have to market it, and then the artist have easier way and a cheaper way to get the venue, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do that experiment one, and then add more artists to your roster by asking them, hey, do you have any friends? Again, the relationship building. Now you're building a relationship not only with the venue, but also with the artist. Say, do you have a friends who do the gigs here in this area? You might spend a little bit money on I guess advertising or something, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but let's say once you are filling up the calendar for one venue, then you can say, okay, now it's working, right? Right? But you want to test it. You need to understand how it works. I think so far, all of these stuff, there is no sales pipeline or anything, any of that, right? It's pretty simple. It is
It's
simple in the
just
sense,
getting
yeah,
users.
it's a building the relationship, right? By understanding your business. Then what you do is, okay, now you enroll maybe two or three different venues, right? Uh, what you do, you document what you've done so far with that one venue, and then maybe I hire somebody, a sales guy, and say, okay, this is what I've done. Can you go and talk to these folks? Okay, I'm going to pay you this much because I cannot do all of it myself. Okay. And then
Mhm.
maybe enroll maybe everyone in that area. Okay. So you don't have to go door to door. They will go do that, or maybe make a phone call or something. But then by then you have a proven website where actually people are using it and everything, right? So when you do at a smaller level, you need people trust. You need to say, okay, yeah, I'm building something like this and all that stuff. But once something is working, then all you need to is make phone calls.
So then I think what you're saying too is like my original thought and model was based on like like flat subscription rates. But I think realistically, because if I'm charging by capacity, that makes sense.
Mhm.
So it sounds like the initial negotiations need to more be like the, the percentage of the capacity or whatever.
Yeah,
And then maybe as like the lure of joining or being like the test venues, like maybe there's no membership fee for like 6 months or something, like
yeah.
that type of thing makes sense, or
Right. Yeah, you can give freebies in the beginning, right? Don't try to make money in the beginning. You say,
uh-huh,
I might lose some money for the first couple of months, okay?
uh-huh.
Because I'm giving both sides some freebies here,
Mhm.
right? I'm forgiving all the fees because they're the first customers.
Gotcha.
Customers, you don't do that. Like my
Uh-huh.
gardener, so there was a guy who was gardening next door. Well, I saw him and I said, "Hey, can you cut my grass as well?" He said, okay, I'll do it for, I don't know, $50 a month or something, right? So, or $100 a month, he said. So I said, can you do it for like 50? So he said, okay, I'll do for 50 as long as you introduce me to your friends. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a great deal. So he's losing $50 in my deal, but he's gaining something else, right?
Mhm.
So I said, okay, that's a deal. I'm gonna introduce to 5 friends. Okay. And I did. And he said, don't expose how much you're getting because I'm not going to give them $50. I'm going to charge them 100 or 75,
Gotcha.
right? So that's how you build, maybe the first few customers you have to let go of something, which is fine. So you might have a model that you want to work with, um, but don't um, uh, don't try to get everything that you need in first few deals. Let few things go. Build a customer, build good service, good platform for the first few customers, and then money will come in once you have more and more customer. Let's say if you have 50 venues, right? Now the 51 guy joins, they know they're getting benefit, so you have a higher rate for them, right? Whatever
Uh-huh.
fees you want
Yeah,
to charge, you can say, hey, here's my fees, right? And
gotcha.
you have you do less negotiation there. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's how it works. But yeah, so that's why I'm saying this is probably one of the most important aspect of building, a business is building a relationship, right? So that's what I was trying to say. And it's really up to you as long as you learn how, you know, to make people happy, ultimately, build a relationship, build trust, do something for them. Ultimately, that will grow your business. All right, that's about it. I'll put this in a canvas and then have a really small homework around it. Yeah.
So what'll the assignment be called? Do you know?
Building relationship.
Okay, okay, great.
Yeah, yeah.
And well, is that the one that I watched the video from last week earlier today, and you had mentioned giving us some like a paragraph of writing? Is that what you're talking about now also?
Last week I gave you homework, right? Let's see. What was the homework last week? Let me look at the modules. last week was module 8 assignment was
Oh, that's showing up on my calendar as like the last assignment.
yeah. So this one this would be just the organizing the the semester. Um, but this one will be a new one, yeah.
Okay, so should I, like, in the order of content, is module 8 technically what I should do next?
Yeah, do module 8 and there will be module 9. Yeah.
Okay, and then there'll be the one that you just mentioned.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you know what day our last class is?
I think I don't remember top of my head. It's written down somewhere. Uh,
Okay.
I think it's the middle of, hold on, let me check. Uh, BCC, the website. Okay, let me stop recording first. So if I